See how long I can make this video. So, I've been procrastinating on a couple of videos lately. I'm trying to get back to them, and one of them is a video on Lucy's just outright crazy new level of power in Elentier, but also the level of potential she holds. I was going to originally split this up into 2 videos. Actually, more than that, because I was going to do one on, like, Lucy's power, maybe, like, a video on Anna and Layla, but, like, Anna and Layla, there's just so little to work with when it comes to, like, their content in the series, whereas, like, Lucy, obviously, tons of content. But also her role in Elentier, which I'll just get to, like, all that in one video. So, Lucy, in the chapter before the current one, because the current one just came out today, was able to casually summon 10 gold keys and a silver key. The silver key just putting blue in there for, for fun, pretty much. But being able to do that and hold it was ridiculous. Like, in a lot of areas, like, that's a really crazy boost for Lucy in general. Like, her not needing her keys was already, like, a really impressive upgrade. But, like, the sheer amount that she can just have out is crazy. And she also in her Stardress mix in chapter 70, 78. And that was also impressive, the fact she was able to do that on top of all her summons and whatnot. The thing is, but, like, around that, is she didn't stay in her Stardress mix. She was able to get into it, obviously, with all of her spirits, which is crazy. But when we first saw Stardress mix, both first and second time in usage, she ended up only being able to use, like, one spell in it, and then came out of it. But she looked exhausted in those occurrences. Whereas, though we don't see in the most recent chapter her, like, right after the spell, I mean, it shows her shortly after, I would assume, just because, like, she, did her her spell in chapter 78, and then you have the chunk with Urza and Yoko, and then at the start of the chapter, we see Lucy again, and she's not in the form anymore, but she looks relatively fine. She doesn't have that same level of exhaustion that she had from the prior times using it. So clearly, she can use it to who knows what better degree, at least at the point where she's not just going to be, wasting all of her magic every single time she ends up using it. I'm just kind of looking at right now with hers, similar to, like, when Natsu first got Lightning Flame Dragon mode. When he used it against Max, he really could just dispense all of it, but it took all of his magic. And then afterwards, he could still use it, but it's not like he stayed in it forever. But it wasn't something that instantly taxed his magic down to 0. But Lucy in general right now has, like, a very large general increase. And that's the bigger thing that I wanted to talk about when it came to this discussion. So Lucy, like, for real, when you look at the general level she's at, when you compare it to other celestial spirits and you see where she's going versus, or not even versus, but, like, on top of what she's potentially going to be capable of, it really just makes her a monster. And when I talk about her power level, I don't mean it in terms of, like, going into, like, stats or anything. I'm talking about just, like, where she ranks in the series. Because Lucy has been S-class level for a long time. We know the Arasion Sage just from feats were absolutely with an S-class level. I mean, like, any of them 1v1 are able to go to toe-to-toe with people like Urza. Angel being able to copy Ichiya, and Ichiya is a weird character, because though he is goofy, he's actually pretty powerful. The difficulty of him is getting him to fight seriously, but he's actually somebody who Urza has hyped up around, like, her tier, at least prior to, like, Alvarez and stuff, but back when it was a much more reasonable area for him to be in. So Angel and all the Arasion Sage should all sit pretty comfortably power-wise around that level. People like Urza and whatnot, and Ichiya, serious Ichiya at least. Angel, who's also a Celestial Spirit Wizard, can only summon 1 gold key and 1 silver key at a time, and Lucy's been able to summon 2 gold keys since the Grand Magic Games after she got the second Origin increase. That means as a Celestial Spirit Wizard, Lucy has been above Angel since the Grand Magic Games. And then when it came to Tartarus, she was able to summon a 3rd key, and that, like, put her up apparently in a level of potential to summon the Celestial Spirit King. So it's not just the general rules of how to summon him, you also have to get to a certain stage in order to do that. Now, it's a little hard gauging Celestial Spirit Wizards this way, just because, like, outside of the Angel information, there's not a lot of celestial spirit wizards to kind of, try and gauge Lucy's ability off of and whatnot, because there's really only a handful, and most of the ones that we see aren't very strong. Like, we see Everlou, he's just summoned Virgo at the start of the series, dude's fodder. But I'm like, that just tells us about, that Yukino's general level, being in Sabretooth at the time, and we don't really know where Angel would be if she didn't, get locked up for 7 years and stuff and stayed with her magic. But we still have at least the baseline S-Class level some point. We don't know if it's low S-Class or high S-Class, but it is something that at least it's like, okay, Lucy has gotten through that threshold. Now, there is like a part in the anime where it's shown Layla is able just to casually have 3 gold spirits at once. And this anime original scene, so it's kind of like, it's a little weird if you want to count it or not. But the thing is, it's actually consistent with like where Layla would probably have to be, given that she opened and powered the Eclipse Gate by herself. She did have to use them for Life Force in order to do that, but still, like, she clearly had to be very powerful in order to even get to that step in the first place. And then Anna's, again, also really weird, because we know that she's really powerful. There was some wording in the official versus the unofficial. Like, I remember the unofficial saying that she was one of, like, if not the greatest celestial spirit wizard of all time. And I don't know why that's not in the official. I would have to look at like maybe what the actual Japanese wording said. Maybe it's one of those things that actually isn't true in the Japanese version. But I have seen weird translations where they just miss. Like in one of the 100 Years Quest volumes, when they're initially talking about the Dragon Gods, they don't even bring in Selene's name. And then they call Viernes the Metal Dragon when he's supposed to be the Gold Dragon. It's just one of those things again where you can chalk it up to like the translators aren't perfect. They're gonna miss stuff on occasion too. And it happens sometimes in moves. I remember like there was one where Natsu's Crimson Exploding Flame Blade was called like Flaming Depth Charge Sword or something really weird. But back to the actual topic, Lucy's level of potential. Because when you look at Anna is who I at least would assume is the top of the Celestial Spirit Wizard class line. And when you really look at Celestial Spirit Wizard magic, and then obviously where it leads to, Celestial Spirit Wizardry stems in like 2 specific types of magic. There's like the celestial magic in general, like we've seen that like starlight is its own thing in comparison to like regular light, as well as, which is kind of weird just because like most light comes from the sun. But I would imagine it's like maybe like a purity thing where it's like, yeah, it has to be honed differently. I don't know. But like starlight and then spatial wizardry, because we know that the fundamental way that celestial spirits are summoned over is with space-time magic, because if, mainly space magic, but obviously there's space-time involved, because like the celestial spirit wizard has a different, celestial spirit world has a completely different flow of time. So she's opening these portals to summon these people over here. And on top of that, when you look at where that starts and where that ends, ending with Anna, I almost always say Layla when it comes to Anna and vice versa, but when it comes to Anna, she was powerful enough that she was able to mess with the space between time. We never saw her with any keys. I'd really like to see like her just maybe like go to Elentier, because I personally think that she has the capabilities to just go to Elentier, and part of that is in reasoning is based off what we know of her with the space between time. Because the thing about the space between time is the space between time was literally a hole in the universe that was caused by time travel. So it is just this thing that shouldn't exist and defies like laws of physics and reality and whatnot. And she even says that it's from the concept of time. So if she's able to mess with that, because she says that a celestial spirit wizard is able to open and close anything, so I would assume that she would be able to open things lesser than the space between time if she's able to affect it. So portals in general, and that's one of the things I really wanted to go over. There are 2 specific things I really wanted to go over in this video. One of them is Lucy, if she's able to do that, like if she's able to, quote unquote, open and close things, would she be the key player in fighting Selene, rather? Because the things about Selene, the big thing about fighting Selene that really needs to, they have to work around is her ability to freely create portals across dimensions. I mentioned in a couple videos before, regardless of whether she decides to send somebody else away or if she has to, maybe make an exit, no matter what, at some point, Selene can just grab somebody and teleport them away. It's not like she's teleporting them a mile away. She can teleport them to any dimension that she's aware of, I would assume. I don't know if there hasn't been any statement of like the requirements for transporting through dimensions. As far as when she can just do it, which includes Daedalus, where she can just send wizards to go and bam, they don't have magic. And even if she goes there and her magic portion is messed with, she still has all her dragon abilities, and she's still as physically strong as a dragon. So she'll just squash him. Selene's level of teleportation and spatial manipulation is really dangerous, and it has to be addressed. They either have to destroy the moon, and that would like take away her ability to do that, or if Lucy is able to potentially, get near the level of Anna, and if she can just freely mess with portals the same way, like say Selene opens a portal, Lucy closes it just with spatial magic the same way that it was opened. I think that would be again really impressive for Lucy, but at the same time, it'd be a really big way that's effective against Selene. And granted, like if you could mess with Selene's portals, because like in the concept that Anna could do it as well. If Lucy gets to the point where she can do it, I doubt that Anna couldn't. At least as of right now, there's nothing that says that Lucy surpassed Anna. But say like you have the matchup of Anna and Selene. Even if like Selene is getting her portals countered, like even there's a big power level gap between Anna and Selene. But say even if Anna is able to counter her portals, Selene can literally just use any of her other abilities and kill her. It's one of those things where it's like, if she can counter this one thing, even if the power level gap is there, it doesn't render her useless. It literally just takes one skill away from her. It would just be, in this case, a skill that she, is really broken, that you have to have taken out in order to fight her in the first place. There has to be a way for them to combat her portals. The only other ways are like if Natsu is able to burn them, maybe Suzaku ends up becoming an ally, he's able to slash them, or maybe Gray can freeze them. There has to be like some form of power-wise way for them to deal with them if they hope to fight Selene at all. Other than that, though, I think the best case scenario is Lucy being able to mess with her portals. And the other thing that Lucy can do, I wanted to do in this video, I just wanted to round up everything into, kind of just a current Lucy potential video rather than just doing like a couple videos. Like I was going to do one on Anna, I was going to do one on Layla, but again, there wasn't a lot to go off with them. I rather would use them and the small information that we do have on them to, up Lucy's video essentially. But Lucy, when she got to the point where she was strong enough to summon the Celestial Spirit King, I don't know why I keep saying Celestial Spirit Wizard as if that's the person and not the class, but the Celestial Spirit King, when she got to that point, it not only was like, okay, you have the potential to use the method, but it's like if breaking the key was the only requirement, then that she could do that at a point, because it would just come down to a level of bond with your spirits, and it wouldn't be a power level based thing. But Aquarius brings up that if she's able to summon 3 gold keys at the same time, that she is in the realm of being able to do it. So there's clearly a power level, at least bar, to get into that area. But Lucy's level of power obviously now is way surpassed that. And she doesn't need her keys at all to summon any of her celestial spirits. The reason that's important is the Celestial Spirit King does not have a physical key. The only way to otherwise summon him is by sacrificing one of your keys in order to summon him. And I think that actually would be a really cool way to gain that ability without having to have the sacrifice. If you get strong enough within your class, within your category of magic, this extremely powerful sacrificial move that you have eventually can just kind of get worked over. Because if the level of gap that she's covered is huge, and it's not like it just happened. And the whole event of her summoning the Celestial Spirit King happened all the way back in Tartarus. She's gone through 2 different time skips since then, and she's in Elentier, where like their magic just transcends by being there. So if Lucy's able just to summon the Celestial Spirit King, I think it would not only make sense, but at the same time, again, I think it would be a really big step for her character, just because it'd be a really powerful way to add to her arsenal if she could just summon these. Because like all these other characters are going to be coming out of this arc with all these new abilities and skills and whatnot. And at the end of the day, Lucy's spirits themselves aren't too powerful. Like you have like Aquarius, you have like Leo and stuff, and Gemini. Gemini's always going to be broken, and then Aries to a degree. But like when you look at people like Cancer, you got Virgo, you got Taurus, they're not that powerful. They have their own skills, but like the potential for Lucy's spirits when it comes to her as a fighter is really in her Stardress mix, how she's able to utilize multiple of their abilities at the same time. But if she's able to summon the Celestial Spirit King, and on top of that, a Celestial Spirit King Stardress, I know a lot of people have really been theorizing on that for a while. It would be really cool to see that added on to her character, because I do think that she deserves something really, really busted like that, because she hasn't had anything like that in the series, really. Like, you know, she had like what, her Aranometria against Angel and stuff, and the first time she used Stardust against Shackle, but she doesn't have like the same thing as all these other characters where they get some absurd big push past all limits breakthrough getting to be OP fight the same way, you know, not to when he went Dragon Force the first couple times, Gray when he became a Devil Slayer, Wendy against Easel with Dragon Force, a lot of Urza moments in general. I mean she doesn't have like as many as like those big hype moments, but she does have them. I mean, Lucy doesn't really have a fight, I would say, like even up there with like Urza versus Ozma. Urza, like Lucy's general value is more of her character and like what she brings to the arc and whatnot. She's never had like one of those massive fights, I'd say, as the same category as these other characters, but I would love to see her get one. I would love to see Lucy with just like this really intense battle where she's just doing literally everything she can and getting through like that, you know, getting through it with the skin of her teeth, and then is able to really exit out of there with just like a lot of new like feats and skills under her belt, the same way that some of these other characters have gotten. I mean, I'm all right with like her general style, but I would love to see, it's kind of like the same thing when Wendy got like, I think Wendy's the best example. When Wendy got her fight with Easel, like Wendy's never been emphasized on her raw fighting capability. She can fight, but Wendy's biggest value is in just the like her enchanting. Like, she's a healer, always good, but at the same time, like, her enchanting is the biggest thing that she brings to the table, her biggest aspect. So it was really cool to see, you know, some of her, you know, coming up fighting scenes, but when she went against Easel, it was just really nice to see her just get to overwhelm her opponent like that. I really want to see that with Lucy. Maybe drop it against Mimi, get some redemption on that, to get to see Lucy way more powerful. So I don't think it would have the same level of hype, or for the what we just got of her just kind of like going against a bunch of fodder yokai. Whereas like Mimi, I would love to see her, you know, get her, you know, get her W out of that fight after getting horribly trounced and just as a bad matchup for her. But anyway, other than that, though, I'd like to hear those people's comments on this. I'm going to try and get this video really soon. It was mostly just procrastinating getting to it. Most of the panels are pretty simple that I will add in and then upload. And then hopefully I can get this video out today. I mean, I did mention it's the same day as like the new chapter that came out. So, I mean, it's got a timestamp in it. So I'll get to that. There's a couple more I want to get to that I can hopefully get out today. I'm going to try and stream at some point today. Actually, I don't know why I brought that up in a video where it's like, it'll probably come out somewhere close to me actually streaming, or might even come out after the stream. I don't know. Either way, comment below, tell me your thoughts about this, and really what you think about like Lucy's future in this, because Lucy has a lot of power potential after the whole casual all of her gate keys essentially at once and Stardress mix, and she's still up fighting. Like, she's not in the form, but she doesn't look like she's as like exhausted of magic. She looks like she's just the exact same way she was before she went into it. So it's just like, oh yeah, I went into it, used a spell, got out, didn't need to be in it, versus like, yeah, I got pushed out of it because I was so low on energy, both magic and stamina. But anyway, other than that though, I'll comment below, thumbs up the video, friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.